She can serenade us any day of the week for my liking. Cynthia Erivo messing with today's theme with that tongue-in-cheek title song, I Can't Sing, from Steve Brown and Harry Hill's 2014 musical of the same name. And I'll see you in a few minutes for more show tunes about music and singing in my Sing When You're Winning edition. We're also going to be indulging in 2 extra special sing-along songs. This is Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 2 o'clock. This is Anna Jones. The Work and Pensions Secretary, Therese Coffey, has insisted the Prime Minister wasn't aware of specific allegations made against the former Deputy Chief Whip, Chris Pincher, before he was promoted to the role in February. The MP was suspended from the Conservatives earlier this week after allegations that he'd groped 2 men. He's now facing 6 new claims of inappropriate behaviour, which he's denied. Lord Baker is a former Home Secretary and a former Conservative chairman.
I think the inquiry set up by the party first has to determine whether these allegations are sound. They seem to be all coming from the Conservative side rather than from other parties. And I think that they will also reveal the time at which these allegations were made and who they were reported to. That is all bound to come out. When you get to that stage, then in fact the Prime Minister has got to address that particular problem.
Russia's Defence Minister Sergei Shoigu says Russian troops have completed the capture of the eastern Ukrainian region of Luhansk. Earlier, his ministry said its forces had encircled Lysychansk, the last city defended by Ukraine. A spokesman for the Ukrainian Ministry of Defence has countered Russia's claim. The Chief Executive of the UK Health Security Agency, Dame Jenny Harries, has warned that the number of people being admitted to hospital with COVID is expected to rise further. The latest UK figures show that infections jumped by more than 500,000 in a week. Around 80 firefighters are dealing with a blaze at a block of flats in south-east London. The city's fire brigade says a dozen engines are on the scene in St Mark's Square in Bromley. Part of the roof and half of a flat on the 15th floor are on fire. Tens of thousands of people in Australia's biggest city, Sydney, have been told to evacuate their homes following torrential rain and flash flooding. With more bad weather expected in the coming days, the New South Wales Emergency Service Commissioner, Carleen York, urged residents not to be complacent.
We want the community to be aware of their risk. As stated by the Bureau, we're anticipating that these levels will rise above the last 18 months of flood levels. So it is important to not expect that if you survived and if your house survived and didn't get wet on the last occasion, or your buildings, that you need to rethink that strategy. Just because it got to the front doorstep on the last floods doesn't mean that it won't escalate overnight.
In sports, the British tennis players Heather Watson and Cameron Norrie will make their last 16 Grand Slam debuts at Wimbledon this afternoon. Our sports correspondent Laura Scott is at the All England Club and says it's been a busy tournament for Watson.
She's played on every single day of the tournament so far because she's through to the last 16 of the singles and doubles. She's expecting a difficult match against the world number 97, Jule Niemeyer. Not on centre court, but central in the minds of British tennis fans is the match between Cameron Norrie and Tommy Paul. They're good friends, but you'd imagine that will be left in the locker room as they play for a spot in the quarter-finals.
And that's the BBC News. It's 3 minutes past 2.
BBC Radio 2.
Now let's get some travel news with Orna Merchant.
Anna, thank you. On Northern Ireland, the A6, Belfast Road, still blocked by a fallen tree, which is between the A26, and that's at Oldstone Road, and Dunnadree. Then we've got Glasgow queues on the M8 on the eastbound side near the M74 at Junction 21. That's an accident, 1 lane closed there. And around the River Tyne, the Great North 10K's been on. It does finish at 2 o'clock, but some of the road closures will be in until about 5 o'clock. At Liverpool to Chester, there's been a bike ride on today. That means the Birkenhead Tunnel has been closed, and it will be all day, but you can use the Wallasey Tunnel instead. And Leeds, there are road closures in because of another running event. It's the Leeds 10K, so there've been Meanwood Road closures there, Headingley Lane, also Otley Road. Staffordshire, now the M6 is queuing on the southbound side. Joanne got in touch, she's stuck in that queue, so approaching Junction 14 at Stafford North. Still queuing down there, and then once you get past Stafford itself, it's not too bad, but it's because of these roadworks. Then also Northampton queues because of Silverstone. You've got the Grand Prix on today, the Formula One weekend, with temporary one-way systems, so quite a bit of traffic out there. And the A43, the A413, might find those routes busy, and park closures in as well. Big problems in South Wales with the M4, so it's closed eastbound at junction 30 at Cardiff Gate after a serious accident, and another accident closed just on the westbound side now, 24 the Caldra to 26 at Malpas Road, but queues on both sides. Eastbound queues are still there back to 27 at High Cross, but it is all open, and queues westbound back to the second Severn crossing. Back with more in an hour.
Listen live on the BBC Sounds app.